The massive ship came out of nowhere. One moment the sky was clear and blue over the Swiss Alps. The next moment, a vessel the size of a small city blocked out the sun. It made no sound as it moved. It simply appeared, like a ghost made of metal and light. Dr. Una Park stood at the window of the United Nations emergency bunker and watched the ship settle into position above the mountains. Her heart was beating fast, but her hands were steady. She had trained for this moment her entire life. She was the head of xenobiology at the Korean Institute of Science, and she had spent 20 years preparing for the day when humanity would meet beings from another world. That day had finally come. "They're sending a signal," said Captain Taeho Kim, standing beside her. He was tall and calm, with the kind of face that never showed fear. He had served in the military for 15 years, and he had seen many dangerous things, but nothing like this. "They want to talk." Una nodded. "Then we talk." The next few hours were chaos. World leaders argued. Military commanders demanded weapons. Scientists begged for caution. In the end, the decision was made. Una and Taeho would be the first humans to meet the aliens face to face. They would represent all of humanity. Una went home one last time before the meeting. Her apartment in Seoul was small and quiet. A retired service dog, a German shepherd named Bomi, was waiting at the door. Bomi was old now, with gray fur around her muzzle and tired eyes. But her tail still wagged when she saw Una. "Hey, girl," Una whispered, kneeling down to hug her. "I have to go somewhere important, but I'm taking you with me." Some people thought she was crazy. Why bring a dog to meet aliens? But Una had her reasons. Bomi had been with her through everything. Through the long nights of research. Through the failed experiments. Through the loneliness that came with dedicating her life to a dream that might never come true. Bomi was not just a pet. Bomi was family. The meeting place was a flat field high in the Alps, surrounded by snow-covered peaks. Soldiers stood at a distance, their weapons ready but hidden. Cameras from every nation on Earth pointed at the sky. The whole world was watching. Una stood in the center of the field with Taeho at her side and Bomi sitting calmly at her feet. The air was cold and thin. Her breath came out in small white clouds. She waited. The alien shuttle descended slowly. It was smaller than she expected, about the size of a bus, and it glowed with a soft blue light. It landed without a sound, and for a long moment, nothing happened. Then the door opened. The first alien stepped out, and Una felt her breath catch in her throat. The being was tall and thin, with skin that shimmered like the scales of a fish. Its eyes were large and dark, and they reflected the light like mirrors. It moved with a strange grace, as if it was not used to walking on solid ground. Behind it came another alien, shorter and wider, with 4 eyes arranged in a row across its face. This one carried a device that hummed quietly, probably some kind of translator. The first alien stopped a few meters away from Una. It looked at her for a long moment. Then it spoke, and the device translated its words into English. "I am Ambassador Tilla of the Galactic Council. I greet you in peace." Una bowed her head slightly. "I am Dr. Una Park. This is Captain Taeho Kim. We welcome you to Earth." Tilla's dark eyes moved from Una to Taeho. Then they moved down to Bomi. The alien froze. "What is this creature?" Tilla asked. Her voice through the translator sounded calm. But something in her posture changed. She became very still, the way a person becomes still when they see something unexpected and possibly dangerous. Una looked down at Bomi, who was sitting quietly with her tongue hanging out. "This is my dog. Her name is Bomi. She is a companion animal." "A companion?" The second alien, the one with 4 eyes, stepped forward. "Our scans show this creature is a separate species. It is not human." "That's correct," Una said. Dogs are a different species, but they have lived alongside humans for thousands of years. They are our friends. Tila exchanged a look with her companion. Yuna could not read their expressions, but she sensed confusion, maybe even fear. You keep another species as a friend? Tila asked slowly. Taiho knelt down beside Bomi and scratched her ears. The dog leaned into his hand, her tail wagging gently. She's more than a friend, he said. She's family. Tila watched this interaction with intense focus. Her scale shifted color slightly, from blue to a paler shade. She made a note on a small device she carried. This is most unusual, she said. In all our travels, we have never encountered a species that keeps predators as companions. Yuna frowned. Predators? The four-eyed alien spoke up. Our scans indicate this creature is descended from apex predators. Its teeth, its claws, its muscle structure. It is built for hunting and killing. Yuna looked at Bomi. The old dog yawned, showing her teeth, then lay down on the cold ground and closed her eyes. She's not dangerous, Yuna said with a small smile. She just wants belly rubs and treats. But Tila did not smile. She continued to stare at Bomi with those dark, mirror-like eyes. We have much to discuss, Tila said finally. But I must ask, how many of these creatures exist on your planet? Yuna thought for a moment. About 500 million, I think. They live in almost every country. In homes, on farms, with police and military forces. Everywhere. The silence that followed was heavy. Tila's scales shifted again, this time to an even paler color. The four-eyed alien's eyes blinked in rapid sequence. 500 million, Tila repeated. 500 million predators. Living in your homes. Sleeping beside your children. Yes, Yuna said simply. Tila turned to her companion and spoke in their own language. The translator did not catch it. But Yuna did not need a translation to understand. The tone it was the tone of someone who had just realized they had badly underestimated the people they were dealing with. The first meeting ended shortly after that. Tila was polite but distant. She promised more contact soon. She returned to her shuttle with quick steps, and the blue glow carried her back up to the massive ship in the sky. Taiho watched them go. That went well, I think. Yuna was not so sure. She looked down at Bomi, who had fallen asleep in the snow. They're scared, she said quietly. Scared? Of what? Yuna did not answer. But she had seen the way Tila looked at Bomi, not with curiosity, not with wonder with fear. And Yuna wondered what the aliens knew about dogs that humans had forgotten. Ambassador Tila could not sleep. Her quarters aboard the ship were comfortable and warm, but her mind would not rest. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw that creature. That dog, sitting calmly at the human woman's feet, its tongue hanging out, its eyes soft and peaceful. But Tila had seen the scans. She knew what lay beneath that peaceful surface. She got up from her bed and walked to the observation deck. The blue planet hung in the darkness below, beautiful and deadly. Somewhere down there, 500 million predators lived in the homes of humans, played with their children, slept in their beds. The thought made her scales turn cold. Commander Bren found her there an hour later. His four eyes blinked in concern as he approached. You should rest, Ambassador. The negotiations continue tomorrow. I cannot rest, Tila said. Not until I understand. She turned to face him. Bren, I need you to research something for me. The creature we saw today. The dog. I want to know everything about it. Where it came from. How it came to live with humans. Everything. Bren nodded slowly. I have already begun. The results are troubling. They walked together to the research center, a large room filled with screens and data stations. Bren pulled up the information he had gathered, and Tila read in silence. Dogs, the data said, were descended from wolves. Tella stopped reading. Wolves? What are wolves? Bren pulled up another file. Images filled the screen. Large gray animals with thick fur and long legs. Powerful jaws filled with sharp teeth. Yellow eyes that seemed to glow with intelligence and hunger. Wolves are pack hunters, Bren explained. They work together to bring down prey much larger than themselves. They are highly social, highly intelligent, and extremely dangerous. On Earth, they have no natural predators except humans. Tella stared at the images. These are the ancestors of dogs? Yes. Humans took wolves and changed them over thousands of generations. They made them smaller, friendlier, more obedient. But the basic structure remains the same. Dogs still have the teeth of wolves, the muscles of wolves, the hunting instincts of wolves. Tella felt her scales shift to gray. Fear. She was feeling fear. How long ago did humans do this? The estimates vary. Some human scientists believe dogs have been with humans for 15,000 years. Others say 30,000 years or more. 30,000 years. Tella could barely comprehend such a number. Her own civilization was only 12,000 years old. When her ancestors were still learning to make fire, humans had already claimed wolves as their own. This is impossible, she said. No species domesticates apex predators. It goes against every rule of survival. And yet humans did it. Bren's 4 eyes were troubled. They did not just survive alongside wolves. They made wolves their partners, their family. Tella walked to a different screen and pulled up the Galactic database. This was the collected knowledge of 400 civilizations spanning 30,000 years. Every intelligent species the Council had ever encountered was recorded here. Every alliance, every war, every achievement and failure. She searched for any species that had domesticated a predator comparable to the wolf. The search returned 0 results. No one, she whispered. In all the history of the galaxy, no one has ever done what humans did. She searched again, this time for species that had tried. She found 17 cases. In every case, the result was the same. The predators had turned on their would-be masters. Entire civilizations had been destroyed or badly damaged. The Rakta had tried to tame the hunting beasts of their moon. The beasts had multiplied and devoured the Rakta's children. The Ven had attempted to domesticate flying predators for warfare. The predators had escaped and hunted the Ven nearly to extinction. And yet humans had succeeded where everyone else had failed. Not just succeeded, thrived. Tella pulled up more data about dogs on Earth. What she found made her scales go even paler. Dogs worked as guards, protecting human homes and businesses. Dogs worked as hunters, helping humans track and kill prey. Dogs worked as soldiers, serving in human armies. Dogs worked as police, chasing down criminals. Dogs worked as rescuers, finding humans trapped in disasters. Dogs worked as medical assistants, guiding blind humans and warning sick humans of danger. Dogs did everything. They were everywhere. And they did it all willingly, happily. They wagged their tails as they served. They cried when their humans died. They refused to leave the graves of their masters. They loved them, Tella said, her voice barely a whisper. The wolves actually love them. Bren nodded slowly. It appears so. The bond between humans and dogs is unlike anything in our records. It is not slavery. It is not control. It is something else entirely. Partnership, Tella said. True partnership. Between apex predators. She sat down heavily in a chair. Her mind was racing with implications. The Galactic Council had sent her to evaluate humans, to determine if they were ready to join galactic civilization, to assess whether they were dangerous. Now she understood. Humans were not just dangerous. They were terrifying. Any species could build weapons. Any species could wage war. But only humans had looked at the most dangerous predator on their planet and said, "I want that on my side." And the predators had agreed. Tella thought about her own world, about the small, gentle creatures her people kept as pets. Soft things that ate plants and made pleasant sounds. Things that could never hurt anyone. She thought about the look in that dog's eyes. Bummy, the human had called it. An old dog, tired and gray, but still a wolf underneath. Still a predator, down to its bones. And yet it had sat there peacefully, calmly, trusting the humans completely, ready to die for them if needed. "Bren," Tella said slowly, "when you look at dogs, what do you see?" Bren considered the question. "I see a weapon. A very effective weapon the humans have somehow convinced to be loyal. Yes, but I see something more." Tella stood up and walked to the window. Earth glowed below them, blue and green and white. "I see proof." "Proof of what?" "Proof that humans can make anyone love them. Even their enemies. Even things that should want to kill them." She turned back to Bren, her dark eyes serious. "If they can do that with wolves, what else can they do? What else have they done that we don't know about?" Bren had no answer. Tella looked at Earth one more time. Somewhere down there, a human child was probably hugging a dog right now, wrapping their small arms around a creature that could tear out their throat in seconds. And the creature was letting them, protecting them, loving them. "We need to learn more," Tella said. "Much more. Before we make any decisions about humanity, we need to understand exactly what we are dealing with." She walked toward the door. "Schedule another meeting with the humans. Tell them I want to learn about the history of dogs." "All of it," Bren nodded. "And what will you tell the council?" Tella paused at the door. "Nothing yet. Not until I know more. But Bren, I will tell you this. Whatever I expected to find on Earth, it was not this. And I'm beginning to think that humans are far more dangerous than any of us imagined." She left the room, her scales still pale with fear. And in her mind, the yellow eyes of wolves continued to glow. The meeting was held in a large conference room at the United Nations headquarters in Geneva. Windows lined one wall, showing a gray winter sky. Tables had been arranged in a circle so that humans and aliens could face each other as equals. Ambassador Tilla sat with Commander Bren and two other members of her team. Across from them sat the human representatives. Dr. Yuna Park was there again, along with Captain Tai-Ho Kim. But today there were two new faces. Dr. Ji-Wan Lee was a professor of evolutionary biology. She had kind eyes and a gentle voice, and she carried a small device for showing images. Beside her sat Captain Dong Choi, a military officer with broad shoulders and a serious face. At his feet lay a large brown dog with pointed ears and alert eyes. "This is Haru," Dohyun said, noticing Tella's gaze. "He is a Belgian Malinois. He works with me in the military." Tella studied the dog carefully. Unlike the old German shepherd she had seen before, this animal looked strong and ready. Its muscles were visible beneath its short fur. Its eyes never stopped moving, watching everything. "He looks dangerous," Tella said. "He can be," Dahyun admitted. "He is trained to protect and to fight. But he is also trained to obey. He will not hurt anyone unless I tell him to." Tella made a note of this. A weapon that only attacks when commanded. A weapon that chooses loyalty over instinct. G1 stood up and turned on her display device. "Ambassador Tila, you asked to learn about the history of dogs. I will do my best to explain, but I must warn you. This history is very long and very complex." "I am prepared to listen," Tila said. Ji-Wan smiled and began her presentation. The first images were of wolves. Not the dogs Tella had seen, but their wild ancestors. great gray beasts running through snow-covered forests. Packs of them surrounding a massive elk, working together with perfect coordination. A lone wolf howling at the moon, calling to others across vast distances. This is what dogs used to be, G1 said. Wolves, Canis lupus. One of the most successful predators Earth has ever produced. Bren's 4 eyes blinked rapidly as he studied the images. They are large. Larger than I expected. An adult wolf can weigh up to 80 kilograms, G1 said. Their bite force is strong enough to crack bone. They can run for hours without stopping, chasing prey until it collapses from exhaustion. They are intelligent, social, and absolutely ruthless. She showed more footage. Wolves hunting. Wolves fighting. Wolves feeding on the bodies of animals many times their size. In the wild, wolves have almost no natural enemies, G1 continued. They sit at the very top of the food chain. The only animals that can challenge them are bears, big cats, and humans. Tella leaned forward. And yet humans did not simply challenge them. Humans made them into dogs. Yes, and that is the remarkable part. G1 changed the image to show ancient cave paintings. Simple drawings of humans and wolves together, hunting the same prey. We do not know exactly how it happened. The earliest evidence dates back at least 15,000 years, but some scientists believe the partnership began much earlier, perhaps 30,000 years ago or more. How? Tella asked. How did your ancestors convince these predators to join them? G1 paused. We think it started with food. Early humans were hunters, like wolves. They killed large animals and ate the meat. But they could not eat everything. There were always bones, scraps, parts they did not want. Wolves would have been attracted to human camps, Taiho added, drawn by the smell of food. At first, humans probably tried to chase them away. But eventually, some wolves learned that staying near humans meant easy meals. And some humans learned that wolves could be useful, G1 said. Wolves have better noses than humans. Better ears. They could warn humans of danger. They could help track prey. So instead of chasing them away, humans started encouraging the friendliest wolves to stay. She showed images of wolf puppies. Tiny creatures with big paws and floppy ears. The key was breeding, G1 explained. Humans took the wolves that were most calm and friendly, and they let those wolves have puppies. Then they took the calmest and friendliest puppies and let them breed. Generation after generation, for thousands of years. Slowly, the wolves changed. The images shifted to show the transformation. Wild wolves became slightly smaller. Their ears became floppier. Their tails started to curl. Their faces became softer, more expressive. Dogs evolved to communicate with humans, G1 said. They developed muscles around their eyes that wolves do not have. Muscles that let them make expressions humans find appealing. They became better at reading human emotions, at understanding human words and gestures. They became, in a sense, designed for partnership with us. Tella sat back in her chair. Her scales had shifted to pale gray again. You changed them. You remade them in a new image. We changed each other, Una said quietly. Dogs change too much to survive in the wild anymore. They need us. But humans changed as well. We became more social, more cooperative, more trusting. Having dogs at our side allowed us to hunt more effectively, to guard our homes, to expand into new territories. We grew together. Captain Do-yoon reached down and placed his hand on Haru's head. The big dog leaned into the touch, his tail wagging slightly. In the military, we call dogs force multipliers, Do-hyun said. One soldier with a trained dog is worth several soldiers without. Dogs can find hidden enemies. They can detect bombs and drugs. They can chase down targets no human could catch. They can intimidate without firing a single shot. He looked at Tella with serious eyes. Haru has saved my life 3 times. He has taken bullets meant for me. He has attacked armed men who would have killed me. He does not do this because he is forced to. He does it because he loves me, because I am his pack. The room was silent for a moment. Tella finally spoke. You said wolves are pursuit predators. What does this mean? Ji-Wan nodded. Most predators on Earth are ambush hunters. They hide, wait for prey to come close, then attack in a sudden burst. Lions do this. Tigers do this. But wolves are different. Wolves chase their prey. She showed footage of wolves hunting. They did not hide. They did not wait. They simply started running, and they did not stop. Wolves can run for hours, Ji-Wan said. They are not the fastest animals, but they have incredible endurance. They follow their prey until it cannot run anymore, until it collapses from exhaustion. Then they move in for the kill. Bren made a strange sound. This is similar to human hunting strategies. Exactly. Ji-Wan smiled, but there was something sad in her eyes. Humans are also persistent hunters. Before we had weapons, we would chase animals for hours under the hot sun. We would sweat to keep cool while our prey overheated. We would track them until they could not take another step. And then we would kill them with rocks and sticks. She looked at Tella directly. Do you understand now? Humans and wolves are the same kind of predator. We hunt the same way. We think the same way. When our ancestors met wolves, they did not see enemies. They saw family. Tella understood. And the understanding filled her with a deep, cold fear. 2 apex predators had met on a small blue planet thousands of years ago. Instead of fighting to the death, they had recognized something in each other. Something similar. Something dangerous. And they had joined forces. Thank you, Dr. Lee, Tella said, her voice steady despite her fear. This has been most educational. She looked at Haru, lying peacefully at Do-Yoon's feet. A wolf in a dog's body. A killer who had chosen to love. The galaxy had never seen anything like humans before, and Tella was beginning to understand why. The Galactic Council chamber was vast and dark, lit only by the glow of floating screens and the distant light of 1,000 stars. Representatives from dozens of species sat in their designated places, their strange bodies silhouetted against the void. Ambassador Tella stood in the center of the chamber, alone beneath the weight of their attention. She had served the council for 40 years. She had negotiated treaties with warrior empires and trade agreements with merchant guilds. She had faced down threats that would have broken lesser diplomats. But she had never been so afraid to give a report. Ambassadors of the council, she began, her voice steady through the translator. I have completed my initial assessment of the species known as humans. My findings are troubling. She activated her display, and images of Earth filled the chamber. Blue oceans, green forests, white clouds swirling over mountains and deserts. A beautiful world, perhaps the most beautiful the Council had ever catalogued. Earth is a dangerous planet, Tella said. Its gravity is heavy. Its weather is violent. Its wildlife is aggressive. The humans who evolved there are survivors in the truest sense. They endured ice ages, volcanic eruptions, plagues, and predators. They should have died 100 times over. They did not. She changed the image to show humans. Men, women, and children of all shapes and sizes. Working, playing, building, fighting. Humans are resourceful and adaptable. They spread across their entire planet, surviving in jungles and deserts and frozen wastelands. They built cities and machines. They split the atom and walked on their moon. All of this is impressive. But it is not what concerns me. She paused. The council was silent, waiting. What concerns me, Tella said slowly, is what humans did with wolves. The image changed again. Now the chamber was filled with pictures of dogs. Tiny dogs in handbags. Giant dogs pulling sleds. Shaggy dogs herding sheep. Sleek dogs running after criminals. Dogs sitting beside soldiers. Dogs sleeping with children. Dogs everywhere, in every part of human society. These creatures are called dogs, Tila explained. They are descended from wolves, one of the most dangerous predators on Earth. 30,000 years ago, humans did something unprecedented. They took these wolves and made them into partners, allies, family. Representative Koth, a massive being with armored plates covering his body, leaned forward. His species had spent millennia developing weapons to defend against their world's predators. This is madness. Predators cannot be trusted. They cannot be controlled. And yet, humans did control them, Tila said. Or rather, they did something more clever than control. They made wolves want to obey. They made wolves love them. She showed footage from Earth. A dog pulling a drowning child from a river. A dog leading a blind woman through traffic. A dog standing over a wounded soldier, growling at anyone who came near. A dog sitting beside a grave, refusing to leave even as days turn to weeks. Dogs will die for humans, Tila said. They will starve for them. They will face any danger, fight any enemy, endure any pain. Not because they are forced to, but because they choose to. The bond between humans and dogs is stronger than any chain or cage. The chamber erupted in murmurs. Species that had never agreed on anything were united in their disbelief. Representative Ven, whose people had nearly been destroyed by flying predators they tried to tame, raised her thin arm. How did humans accomplish this? What technology did they use? No technology, Tela said. They did it with patience, food, and selective breeding. They did it over hundreds of generations. They did it before they had writing, before they had metal tools, before they had anything except fire and stone. They were barely more than animals themselves when they began. And yet, they succeeded. Impossible, said Representative Moore, a being of living crystal whose species valued logic above all else. The mathematics of predator-prey relationships do not allow for this. The risk is too high. The cost is too great. The mathematics, Tila replied, did not account for human stubbornness. She showed one final piece of footage. It was from a human military operation. Soldiers moved through a ruined building, their weapons ready. Ahead of them walked a dog, its nose to the ground, searching for hidden dangers. The dog stopped suddenly. It sat down and looked back at its handler. "Bomb," said a voice in the footage. "Good boy, Haru, good boy." The soldiers retreated. The building was evacuated. Later, explosives experts found a device that would have killed dozens of people. The dog had saved them all. Humans do not see dogs as tools, Tila said. They see them as partners, equals. In some ways, they see them as better than themselves. Humans write stories about dogs. They make movies and songs about dogs. When a dog dies, humans weep for them as they would weep for their own children. She turned to face the council directly. Do you understand what this means? Humans looked at one of the most dangerous animals on their planet and said, "I want that on my side." And they got what they wanted. They did not conquer wolves. They befriended them. They made wolves choose to serve them. Representative Koth shifted uncomfortably in his seat. "What are you suggesting, Ambassador?" "I am suggesting that we have badly underestimated humans. We thought they were just another young species, aggressive and primitive. But they are something else. They are apex predators who know how to make other apex predators love them." The chamber was silent. Tila continued, "I have reviewed our records. No species in the history of the Council has ever done what humans did with wolves. 17 civilizations tried to domesticate predators. All 17 failed. Many were destroyed in the attempt. Only humans succeeded. And they did it so long ago that they consider it completely normal. She let that sink in. Humans do not understand why we are impressed, she said. To them, dogs are just part of life. They cannot imagine existing without them. When I asked human children about their dogs, they spoke of them the same way they spoke of their brothers and sisters. The bond is that deep, that old, that unbreakable. Representative Venn spoke again, her voice troubled. What are you recommending, Ambassador? Tella took a deep breath. I am recommending caution. Extreme caution. Humans are not ready for full membership in the Council. Not yet, but neither should we treat them as enemies. Because I believe that humans have the ability to do with other species what they did with wolves. You mean befriend them, Moore said. Yes, humans are not conquerors in the traditional sense. They do not want to rule others. They want others to want to be ruled by them. They want to be loved. And somehow, impossibly, they keep achieving exactly that. She thought of Yuna and her old dog Bomi. She thought of Da-Yun and his fierce companion, Aro. She thought of children hugging creatures that could tear them apart. And those creatures wagging their tails with joy. If we go to war with humans, Tila said, we might win. They are young, and their technology is primitive compared to ours. But I do not think we would destroy them. I think they would survive. They would adapt. They would make allies among us. And in 1,000 years, or 10,000 years, they would be sitting where we sit now, and we would be their loyal friends, wondering how it happened. The chamber was absolutely silent. That, Tella said, is my report. She deactivated her display and stood in the darkness, waiting. Representative Moore finally spoke. This is the most disturbing first contact report in Council history. I know, Tella said. What do you suggest we do? Tella thought for a long moment. Watch them. Learn from them. Be very, very careful around them. And whatever you do, do not give them a reason to see us as enemies. And if they want to be our friends? Tella smiled, but there was no joy in it. Then pray they treat us better than we deserve. Because once a human decides to love something, nothing in the galaxy can change their mind. She bowed to the council and walked out of the chamber. Behind her, 400 species sat in stunned silence, thinking about wolves and the strange creatures who had tamed them. But now it was joined by dozens of smaller vessels. Representatives from across the galaxy had come to see the humans for themselves. And more specifically, to see the dog's Dr. Unipark had become an unofficial ambassador between species. Every day, she guided groups of aliens through Earth cities and parks, showing them how humans and dogs live together. She had expected the aliens to be interested in human technology, human art, human history. Instead, they only wanted to watch dogs. Today, she was walking through a park in Seoul with Ambassador Tella at her side. The spring weather was warm and pleasant. Cherry blossoms drifted through the air like pink snow. All around them, humans played with their dogs. A young woman named Yoonji threw a ball across the grass. Her border collie, a black and white blur of energy, raced after it with pure joy. Nearby, her brother Minho lay on a blanket with a beagle sleeping on his chest. They are everywhere, Tella said, watching the scene with wonder. Your dogs. They are in every city, every home. Even now, after seeing them so many times, I cannot fully understand it. Yuna smiled. What is there to understand? Dogs are our friends, but they were wolves. Tilla's scale shifted to a thoughtful purple. They were killers. They could still kill if they wanted to. And yet they choose not to. Because we are their pack, Yuna said simply. Dogs do not see themselves as separate from us. When a dog looks at its human family, it sees its pack, its tribe. the people it would die for. A small child, maybe 4 years old, ran past them chasing a golden retriever puppy. The puppy was almost as big as the child, and it bounded along with its tongue hanging out, obviously having the time of its life. The child caught up and wrapped his arms around the puppy's neck, hugging it tight. Tella tensed. The child. Is that safe? Yuna watched as the puppy licked the child's face, making him giggle. Perfectly safe. That puppy would never hurt him. It would protect him against anything. How can you be sure? Because that's what dogs do. They protect their pack. They continued walking. Tella was quiet for a while, processing everything she saw. Finally, she spoke again. I have been thinking about my report to the council. About what I said regarding humans. What did you say? I said that humans were dangerous. That you had the ability to make other species love you. That the council should be cautious. Yuna nodded slowly. And do you still believe that? I do. But I have also realized something else. Tella stopped walking and turned to face Yuna directly. Your danger is not a threat. It is a gift. I don't understand. Tella gestured at the park around them. At the dogs and humans playing together. At the ancient bond made visible in every wagging tail and happy bark. For 30,000 years, you have loved wolves, Tella said. You have cared for them, protected them, changed yourself to make room for them in your lives. And they have loved you in return. This is not conquest. This is not domination. This is something much more powerful. She paused, searching for the right words. In the galaxy, there are many species that rule others. Empires that conquer and enslave. Powers that force obedience through fear. But humans do not rule that way. Humans make others want to follow them. You turn enemies into friends. Predators into protectors. Wolves into dogs. Yuna felt tears forming in her eyes, though she did not fully understand why. Tella continued. The council has debated for months what to do about humans, whether to invite you into galactic society or keep you isolated, whether to fear you or ignore you. But I have made my recommendation. And what is that? I have recommended that we learn from you, that we study how humans build bonds, how you create trust, how you turn fear into love. Tella's scale shifted to a warm blue. Because if humans can teach wolves to be gentle, perhaps you can teach the galaxy as well. Yuna wiped her eyes. We never wanted to teach anyone anything. We just wanted friends. I know. And that is why you succeeded. Tella looked around the park one more time. Your ancestors were alone on a dangerous planet. They were small and weak and afraid. But instead of building walls to keep others out, they opened their arms and invited others in. Even the most dangerous others. Especially the most dangerous others. A dog ran past them, a stick in its mouth, pure happiness in its eyes. The galaxy has been so focused on weapons and defenses, Tella said. We have spent thousands of years learning how to destroy our enemies. But humans spent those same years learning how to make enemies into family. I think, in the end, your way is stronger. They stood together in silence, watching the humans and dogs around them. Watching a bond 30,000 years old, still going strong. Finally, Yuna spoke. Ambassador Tella, do you know why we bring dogs everywhere? Why we can't imagine life without them? Tell me. Yuna thought about Bomi, her old German shepherd, sleeping peacefully at home. Thought about all the dogs she had ever known. All the love they had given without asking for anything in return. Because humans are afraid of being alone, she said. We are social creatures. We need others around us. We need pack. And 30,000 years ago, when we looked at wolves, we saw beings who understood that same need. Creatures who also lived in packs. Who also needed family. She smiled. We didn't tame wolves, Ambassador. We recognized them. We saw ourselves in their eyes, and they saw themselves in ours. And together, we decided we would never be alone again. Onji's border collie ran up to them, tail wagging, a ball in its mouth. It dropped the ball at Taylor's feet and looked up at her expectantly. Taylor stared down at the dog. At this descendant of wolves, this product of 30,000 years of partnership. The dog's eyes were bright and trusting. Its tail never stopped wagging. Slowly, carefully, Taylor reached down and picked up the ball. The dog's entire body vibrated with excitement. Taylor threw the ball across the grass. It was not a good throw. It wobbled and fell short. But the dog did not care. It raced after the ball with the same joy it would have shown for a perfect throw, grabbed it, and came running back. It dropped the ball at Tella's feet again. And this time, Tella laughed. A real laugh, filled with genuine happiness. "I think I understand now," she said. "I think I finally understand." Yuna watched as the alien ambassador threw the ball again, and again, and again. Each time, the dog brought it back. Each time, Tella laughed with pure delight. Somewhere above them, the massive ship drifted in orbit. Somewhere across the galaxy, the Council debated humanity's future. But here, in a small park in Seoul, something much more important was happening. Being from another world was learning what humans had learned 30,000 years ago. That the universe is cold and dark and lonely. That survival is hard and enemies are everywhere. But that none of that matters if you have a friend by your side. A friend who will love you without question. A friend who will protect you without hesitation. A friend who asks for nothing but your company and gives everything in return. The border collie flopped down in the grass, exhausted and happy. Tella knelt beside it and very gently stroked its fur. "Good dog," she said softly. "Good dog." And somewhere, in whatever place the spirits of ancient wolves had gone, the ancestors of all dogs heard those words and knew that they had chosen well. That their 30,000-year gamble had paid off, beyond their wildest dreams. Humans had not just given them food and shelter. Humans had given them the stars. And together, humans and dogs would give those stars to anyone willing to be their friend.